Finally, what I'd like to talk about is Bitcoin. Bitcoin has had a magnificent run this year. It got down below 4,000 in March during the coronavirus crisis. And we know very well, went through a lot of growing pains in that time, and I think is better for it. And I mean the entire ecosystem, including the exchanges that at one time allowed 100 times leverage. I don't know if that's still going on, but those who were 100 times levered in March, they no longer have their businesses. So I think governance is becoming better in this space, which is all to the good. We have written 2 white papers, specifically Yassine Almandra, our crypto analyst, has, and one of them examines whether institutions are ready for Bitcoin, and also asks the other question, is Bitcoin ready for institutions? And we think one of the reasons that Bitcoin is appreciating is institutions are dipping their toes in. Now, they're doing this not just from an investment point of view, but from a corporate cash point of view. Some of you may know that MicroStrategy has converted all of its cash, the cash on its balance sheet, into Bitcoin. Square has done that with, I believe, it's 5% of its 1% of its assets, 2% of its cash. And I believe we're going to see other companies doing that as well. We know that PayPal also announced, so it is following Square and Robinhood and allowing the purchase and sale of Bitcoin. PayPal is, a much more conservative, more old world company than either Square or Robinhood. So again, some validation there, seal of approval of sorts. And the paper that Yassine wrote describes what would happen if institutions decide that a 5% allocation to Bitcoin is appropriate. And the reason, and really that number is closer to the 6% range, the way we wrote the paper. But the reason 5% is important to me is I saw real estate entering pension funds in the 70s, and they started with 1%, migrated to 5%. We saw emerging markets, many pension funds and institutional investors moving into emerging markets as MSCI developed that classification and moved from 1% to 5% and wherever they are now. And we think the same thing is going to happen with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And if it does, and if it's, say, just with Bitcoin, and we've got that 5% allocation, somewhere in the 4 to 6% range, that if that were to happen and all institutions were going to do it, of course, that's not going to happen, but some might add more, so offsetting those who don't participate at all. That would add somewhere between 400,000 and 500,000 to the Bitcoin price. We're at 20,000 right now. Now that is not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen for years. But if we're on our way, it is going to be a very pleasant journey.